One day, you'll close your eyes and never open them again. But you've already been practicing for that, every single night. We all keep pretending we're immortal during the day. Bills, traffic, meetings, group chats, dinner plans. Then night falls, and something terrifying happens. We disappear, for hours, and we call it sleep. But here's the thing no one likes to say out loud. Sleep makes no damn sense. You go completely unconscious. You're vulnerable, unaware, detached from time, from self, from reality. And when you wake up, there's no trace of where you were. And that's not a poetic metaphor. It's literal. You were gone. Your brain shuts down systems like a plane going dark mid-flight, and it doesn't even ask for your permission. You lose control of your body, your thoughts melt into fog, and you surrender. And we all just do it, like it's normal. But it's not. If sleep wasn't necessary, it would be the most dangerous biological mistake in the history of evolution. You're defenseless. You can't run, can't fight, can't protect your kids, can't scream. If a predator walked into your room at 2 a.m., your best case scenario is to die confused. So why do we sleep? We know the scientific guesses: memory consolidation, cellular repair, hormone regulation. But none of them answer the real question. Why do we willingly leave reality every night, not knowing if we'll come back? Because sleep is the rehearsal. It's death's daily dress rehearsal. And if that idea makes you uncomfortable, if it creeps up your spine like something ancient and unspeakable, good. It should. You're finally paying attention. Every night, you disappear. Not metaphorically, not spiritually. You stop existing in every way that matters. No memories, no awareness, no time, no self. You could call it rest, but that's just branding. What sleep actually is erasure. You stop being you. Not forever, but long enough for it to make you question how real you ever were. You go to bed, you close your eyes, and then nothing. You don't witness the moment when your consciousness shuts down. You don't observe the edges of your identity blur. You just go. And hours later, you come back. Sometimes not even sure what day it is. That's not just weird, that's terrifying. But we've normalized it. We dress it up with bedtime routines, weighted blankets, lullabies. We make it cozy, because if we called it what it really is, we wouldn't sleep at all. We'd lie there, eyes wide open, haunted by the fact that we vanish. And everyone we love vanishes too. And when we don't vanish, when sleep doesn't come, the body breaks down. Sleep deprivation isn't just tiring, it's madness. The Stanford prison experiment wasn't shut down because of violence. It was because subjects started hallucinating. Military black ops programs have used sleep disruption as psychological warfare. Go long enough without sleep, and the line between reality and delusion dissolves. You become unglued. Because here's the secret no one likes to admit. We're not built for constant consciousness. Our brains need to shut off. Not because it's restful, but because staying aware for too long breaks something. Something fragile, something human. And what do we call a mind that refuses to shut off? We call it anxiety. We call it trauma. We call it a life spiraling into its own echo chamber. Freud once said, "No mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips." Sleep is the moment the body stops chattering. And in that silence, we glimpse the ultimate secret. We're not in control. Not of when we sleep. Not of whether we wake. Not even of what happens while we're gone. We're taught to fear death, but we live with its rehearsal every night. And instead of facing that fact, we hide behind phrases like sweet dreams. But what happens when there are no dreams? What happens when the night is just a hole? You don't get to answer because you weren't there. Sleep has a brother. His name is Death, and they were born from the same mother. In Greek mythology, Nyx, the night, gave birth to two sons, Hypnos, the god of sleep, and Thanatos, the god of death. They weren't enemies. They weren't opposites. They were siblings, different sides of the same phenomenon. The Greeks weren't wrong. They just said it first. Today, neuroscience uses sterile terms like REM cycles, circadian rhythms, sleep spindles. But strip the jargon away, and what you're left with is something mythic still. The brain becomes a cave. The body goes limp. You fall out of time. You enter a state where you are biologically alive, but mentally suspended. That's not survival. That's submission. And what's wild is, it's universal. Every animal that has a brain, no matter how simple or alien, sleeps. Sharks sleep. Fruit flies sleep. Even jellyfish, brainless organisms, experience a rhythmic shutdown of activity that mimics sleep. Think about that. Before the brain was even invented by evolution, sleep came first, which means we weren't made for awareness. We were made for interruption. Why? Because the universe doesn't care how clever we are. It cares that we shut up sometimes, that we stop moving, that we surrender. And for all our pride, humans still can't beat that law. Even dolphins, brilliant, social, self-aware, had to evolve to sleep with only half their brain at a time just to survive in water. One hemisphere sleeps, the other stays alert. Then they switch. That's not rest, that's negotiation with oblivion. You might think this proves how ingenious life is. But the darker truth is, even the smartest life can't escape the pull of unconsciousness. Even evolution, over billions of years, couldn't solve the problem of how do I stay alive without disappearing? Because it's not a bug, it's the system. As the philosopher Alan Watts once wrote, to go out of your mind at least once a day is tremendously important. But sleep isn't going out of your mind, it's your mind stepping out of you. And yet we glorify consciousness. We define life by awareness. We define personhood by memory, by thought, by identity. But none of that survives sleep, which raises a question most people are too afraid to ask. If I disappear every night, and the world continues without me, and I wake up not knowing where I was, what's the difference between that and death? It's not just poetic resemblance, it's functional identity. Sleep and death don't just look alike, they work alike. One is temporary, the other's not. That's the only line. So next time you close your eyes, really close them. You're not resting, you're rehearsing. And the more you resist it, the more it takes from you. This is the part of the story where myths and science don't contradict. They shake hands, because even the gods knew we belong to the night. You are dying right now, but the problem is you're doing it too slowly to notice. If death came all at once, a crash, a collapse, a scream, we'd know what to do with it. We'd fight or run or cry. But that's not how it works. Death doesn't sprint. It inches, not toward you, through you. You're not walking toward your last day. You're already bleeding seconds into it. Every cell in your body is counting down, in silence. And while you're reading this, part of you has already stopped regenerating. There's no alarm, no ceremony, just entropy, relentless and polite. And the cruelest part? We're aware. No other species wakes up knowing it's one day closer to oblivion. No other animal mourns before the death happens. We do. We pre-grieve. We pre-panic. We carry the funeral in our chest long before the coffin closes. That knowledge is our punishment for being conscious. Albert Camus called it the absurd, the tension between our desire for meaning and the cold silence of the universe. He wrote, "There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide. Not because life isn't worth living, but because life, while knowing it ends, is unbearable without a framework. Sleep is bearable because we trust we'll wake up. Death isn't, because we know we won't. And here's the unspoken horror. We spend every day solving problems, building plans, falling in love, holding grudges, saving passwords, knowing none of it will survive us. You've never met your great-great-grandmother. You probably never will know her name. And your great-great-grandchildren, if they exist, won't know yours. That's not pessimism, that's math. And yet, we pretend otherwise. We write books, we carve stones, we take selfies, we buy followers. But when the asteroid comes, the personal one with your name on it, none of it comes with you. No legacy, no monument, no algorithm will stop the fact that you are a perishable moment pretending to be a permanent identity. So we do the only thing we can. We practice disappearing. Every night. Voluntarily. We lay down and let go. And when we wake up, we play dumb. We call it a new day like we didn't just vanish. Like we're not still vanishing. But the truth is, death doesn't wait. It counts. It adds up. One heartbeat at a time, and it never skips a beat. One day, this planet will fall silent. But today, you get to hear your own thoughts. That's a cosmic accident disguised as routine. Waking up is not normal. Waking up is absurd. Nothing in physics says this should happen. The laws of thermodynamics don't explain how carbon decides to become curious. And yet, you're here. Thinking, wanting, suffering, loving. Biologically, you're atoms. Chemically, you're noise. Cosmically, you're forgettable. But existentially, you're the only thing in the known universe that's ever asked why. The philosopher Thomas Nagel once said, "Even if life has no objective meaning, it still matters that it matters to us." That's the whole trick. You don't need the universe to care, because you do. And that breaks the rules. Every night your body shuts you off like a machine, and every morning it turns you back on. Without a password. No ritual, no guarantee, no logic. Just the wild, repeatable event of you happening again. That's not mundane, that's miraculous. Not because a god touched your forehead, but because it statistically shouldn't work. The odds of your atoms forming this exact consciousness, at this exact time, in this exact species, in this exact galaxy, are so low they defy articulation. Yet here you are, with Wi-Fi. You could have been a bacterium, or a rock, or radiation. But instead, you got 86 billion neurons arranged in a language nobody fully understands, producing you, a person who knows they'll die and still chooses to love anyway. That's more than biology. That's an act of rebellion. Because the universe runs on inertia. And you woke up and chose awareness. You opened your eyes and carried forward all the weight of being human. The grief, the joy, the boredom, the heartbreak, the taxes, even though none of it is permanent. You said, yes, again. You said, turn the lights back on. I'm not finished. And in doing that, you pulled off something even death can't replicate. Presence. There's no afterlife that lets you hear your child laugh. No reincarnation where you get your exact friends back. No heaven that serves your mom's cooking exactly the way she did on rainy Tuesdays. This is it. The moment when matter wakes up and notices itself, and calls it life, and calls it worth it. If the universe forgets you, does that make you less real? Or does it make your existence the only real thing there ever was? Everything dies. You. Everyone you love. Every word you've spoken. Every building, every language, every archive, every child. Even the atoms you borrowed will burn out or drift into cold nothing. And if that's true, if everything collapses, what the hell are we doing here? We write poems, we raise children, we kiss strangers, we dance drunk at weddings, we build empires, we break down, we try again, knowing none of it survives the heat death of the universe. But here's the catch. Meaning doesn't require permanence. It only needs presence. A moment can matter more than a monument. A breath can carry more weight than 1 billion years of silence. Philosopher Martin Hägglund wrote in This Life, "Eternal life would eliminate the need to value time. Mortality is what makes our moments matter." He's not being poetic. He's being precise. If we couldn't lose anything, nothing would ever be worth holding on to. You miss people because they're gone. You love them because they could go. You cry because the story ends. You laugh because for one instant it doesn't. The fact that sleep ends is what makes waking up profound. The fact that death exists is what makes right now holy. Not sacred in a religious sense, sacred in a real sense, in the only way that counts. And so we live in protest, not in denial, in rebellion. We live not because it makes sense, but because it doesn't. That's the secret. The absurd doesn't erase meaning, it creates it. Because if the universe is indifferent, if no God is watching, no fate is guiding, no eternal record is being kept, then you are the only witness this moment has. And that makes you sacred, not because you're permanent, because you're aware, because you're here, now, and still choosing to say yes, to life, to love, to other broken humans stumbling through the dark beside you. You are not required to find meaning in the stars, only in the hand that's reaching for yours. When Ursula K. Le Guin wrote, "We'll go a little further. I can't go without you," she wasn't describing a journey. She was describing the only response to death that ever made sense: connection. That's it. Not immortality, not legacy, not a perfect philosophy. Just someone else in the dark, whispering, "Don't sleep yet. Stay with me a little longer." And maybe, if we're lucky, that's how we all meet the end. Together. If this video stirred something in you, even just a quiet thought that you can't shake, then it did its job. And if you made it this far, thank you. Truly. Just by being here, by choosing to listen, to think, to feel, you're helping more than you know. This space exists because of people like you, people who are willing to look into the dark and stay long enough to find the light, people who choose curiosity over comfort, people who still care about meaning, even when everything tells them not to. If you want to go one step further, becoming a channel member is one of the most powerful ways to support what we do here. It helps keep this kind of content alive, thoughtful, independent, ad-free, algorithm-defying. And in return, you get access to exclusive extras, behind the scenes, early releases, members-only posts, and a community of people who think like you do. Or if this video moved you, and you want to show your appreciation directly, you can also use the Super Thanks feature, a one-time gesture that helps more than you might imagine. But no pressure. Because watching, liking, sharing, or just carrying this with you into your day, that's already a gift. One I don't take for granted. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying until the end. And if the next time you fall asleep, you think just for a second about what it means to wake up, that's everything. Stay curious, stay awake, and maybe stay a little longer.